Okay. So, welcome everyone to our December Health Innovation Community Partnership. We're so excited to be sharing some space with you today at the start of the holiday season. Well, it's hardly the start of the holiday season. We all just celebrated Thanksgiving last week. However, I know we're all rolling with the holiday season now, and I know it's a very busy time of year. So, we're keeping our meeting agenda very light and tight today. We have a couple fabulous presentations that we're very excited to share with you, but we're going to go ahead and get started because I know everyone has lots of other things to take care of today. So moving on, let's see. All right, let's see if I can get, oh, there we go. Is this going to work for me? Oh, it is going to work. Awesome. Okay, as we know, our meeting is being recorded, and in about a week's time, it'll be posted on the hicpla.org website. So if you want to revisit any of the materials today or refer a friend to learn more about our presentations, please send them to our website. We also share space both in the Zoom room and in person here at Los Angeles General Medical Center. We want this to be an interactive session. We encourage people to ask questions both in the chat, in the room, and by raising their hand on the Zoom channel, and we'll call upon you to ask your question of our presenters. All right, let's go over our agenda very quickly today. We'll have our first presentation by Los Angeles General Medical Center. We've got a couple deep dive presentations on campus projects. We're also going to spend some time reflecting on HICP's mission and roles and goals of 2024, and also doing some planning collectively with you, our HICP membership, as we look to 2025. We also have a special guest presentation related to Hazard Park Creek, and that will be coming directly after the break. Oh, wait, I guess I'm sorry. This is slow to catch up with that, so I'm confused. All right. Okay, I'm with you now. So before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and read aloud our HICP guiding principles. All participants agree to basic principles prioritizing equity, community resilience, and health in all programs and projects. All participants agree to approach issues with an open mind, be willing to engage in dialogue, and commit to thinking boldly about solutions. Participants will state views and ask genuine questions. Participants will seek to avoid monologues and arguments, move to conversations where participants are curious and seek to understand various points of view. Participants will explain reasoning and intent, share how we reach our conclusions so that others can understand our divergent reasoning. Participants will attack the problem and not the person, organization, or institution. Participants will define key terms so that we can attain a shared understanding. Participants will share all relevant information. Participants will always arrive prepared for the meeting. During meetings, only one person speaks at a time. We will not engage in sidebar conversations. Participants will work to develop a comprehensive, common set of information with which to solve problems and make decisions. Participants will jointly design next steps. And with that, I'm really excited to invite to the podium Dr. Josh Banerjee, who will be sharing the LA General Medical Center update today.
Good morning, everyone. Um, Good morning. Good morning. It's my privilege to join you this morning on behalf of our leadership team here at LA General Medical Center. As Heather said, I'm Associate Medical Director for Transitions of Care. I'm also a practicing urgent care physician here at LA General Medical Center. And so it's in both roles actually that I'm really thrilled to introduce two of our speakers today to share some great updates about our amazing stroke program and our critical care nursing team. And, you know, as a physician here, I'm intimately familiar with how amazing these teams are. And so I'm really excited that they can share more about their programs with you today. So first I'll invite Yvonne to come up to discuss our stroke program.
Good morning. My name's Yvonne McNeely, and today we're just going over LA General as a primary stroke center. Okay, I wasn't sure if there were. We were awarded the Stroke Silver Plus Award by American Heart Association with a Target Type 2 Diabetes Honor Roll. And basically, this award reflects that Los Angeles General has achieved 80% on key measures such as documentation of education for our stroke patients regarding their risk factors. It is a quality achievement award that shows LA General's commitment to ensuring our stroke patients receive the most appropriate treatment according to nationally recognized research-based guidelines, ultimately leading to more lives saved and reduced disability. It highlights Los Angeles General's commitment to excellent care so that our patients are getting the best quality of care as well as prevent future strokes. Did you know that stroke is a leading cause of disability in the United States? Therefore, prompt recognition and treatment can help save lives. Stroke is a time-sensitive neurological disease, and it is very important that we continue to educate our staff and community members on its signs and symptoms. So remember the acronym BFAST, which basically stands for B is for balance, E is for any vision changes, so any eye symptoms, F is for facial droop, any facial drooping. A is for arms, numbness, tingling, weakness. S is for speech, slurring of their speech or speech disturbances. And T, activate or call 911 immediately. Early intervention basically increases a stroke patient's chances of successful recovery. And really, again, this award reflects the excellence of our staff here and the care rendered at Los Angeles General. It is a reflection of the dedication of our neurology physician, directors, and nurses who are continuously providing great service to our patients and ensure that they receive the best quality of care. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne. I'd like now to introduce Dr. Becky Sandoval, our critical care nursing leader.
Good morning, everyone. So as Dr. Banerjee said, I am the clinical nursing director for the ICUs, and we're very, very proud to announce that all of our ICUs and our PCUs received Beacon Awards. And so Beacon Awards are awarded from the American Association of Critical Care Nurses. It's a nonprofit national organization. And to get this type of award it's amazing. And it's amazing for a county facility who has done so many great things throughout the years and to now be recognized for it. In looking at what we're graded on, we are graded on and very high standards, very stringent criteria, leadership, staffing, communication, evidence-based practice, and outcome measures. So we're looking at nursing metrics. We're looking at how our nurses collaborate with our physicians and really bringing the latest evidence out there to our community and bedside care. Oh, thank you. So here's our different awards. And there's 3 levels. There's bronze, silver, and gold. We did have to apply for this. And to receive as many silvers and golds as we did, we're very excited. We received 7 silver awards and we received 3 golds. Are we on the goals? Yeah, we're on the goals. So with that, what does it mean for the community? For the community, it means that we're putting patients first and that we are providing world-class care. So it's pretty amazing that we as a county facility that, again, have been providing such good care to our families are being recognized and that we meet these criteria. Also, in addition, we had one of our nurse managers, Donabelle Quicho Weigel, who received Circle of Excellent Leadership. And with that, there are only 25 leaders that are recognized throughout the nation that receive this award. So Donna Bell's a very innovative leader. She was able to bring bedside rounding where we're integrating A through F, and A through F is an acronym for ICU liberation, where it really puts into structure how we are providing care for our ICU patients. With that, the nurse has been empowered to provide the report with all of the physicians, our attendings, our interdisciplinary team, and really leading the care. We are at the bedside and we are the eyes and ears and advocate for our patients. So it's amazing that we have empowered our nurses to be the voice for our patients. She is also, I'm sorry. She also is a champion for inclusion. She's a co-chair for our EDIA committee, equity, diversion, and inclusion and accessibility, and has a great voice. And there's a lot of things that have been done in our here at LA General and through DHS. And then driving patient outcomes. Her outcomes are amazing. Her pressure ulcers, and outcomes are important. They're very important that we are keeping our patients safe and we are getting our patients home as soon as we can get them home. So with that, all Beacon for us really signifies that we are putting our patients first and that we're providing world-class care. Thank you. With that, I'd like to invite Dr. Banerjee back.
Thank you, Dr. Sandoval. I really just want to underscore one more time, these are really big recognitions. Like I say, my colleagues and I, we see the work of our teammates and we understand the world-class care that they're providing. The recognition and that our teams are receiving broadly, I think just really, I don't know, formally recognizes the work they're doing. So I'm so proud to work with you both and the teams that you're leading. Are there any questions that you have for either Yvonne or Dr. Sandoval?
Sorry, thank you. Buenos días, gracias por la atención. Tengo un amigo, una persona que padeció un stroke embolia hace 3 años. Él vive en la 54 y la Campton. Y
Good morning. Thank you. I have a friend that had a stroke and he lives 3 years ago and he lives on 54th and Compton.
es difícil poderlo ayudar porque la esposa no nos da mucho acceso. Pero solo quisiera saber si cerca de ahí pudiera haber una institución clínica que lo pudiera ayudar, aunque él sea indocumentado.
And it's hard to help him because his wife doesn't give us too much access. Is there like a medical institute that could help him near him? He's also undocumented.
So that's a great question. I don't know, Yvonne, do you want to take it or I can take the question? Whichever.
We have a wellness center here that provides free services such as they have exercise programs, cooking classes. Those are all free and it's provided by the wellness center if this is a good location that's accessible for that particular individual. That's available for everybody.
And I'd like to add as well that we're thinking to do some more work in support of stroke survivors. And so that is something that the Wellness Center is actively wanting to work with LA General on. And so that is definitely a priority for us in 2025 in terms of our growing partnership. We definitely acknowledge stroke as a really significant condition impacting so many of the community residents that we want to serve. We're also looking at Alzheimer's as another condition that we're really going to to be focusing on in 2025. So it's definitely a wonderful time to hear these fantastic awards that are and recognitions that LA General is receiving, because we know that these are very, very significant concerns and conditions that affect the community.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, yes.
Oh, I
So not a question, but just accolades to all of you, to the team for the hard work. This is something that this community needs to know. And Josh and I were on a committee years ago when we were talking about outreach and how we would let the community know the level of service that happens here. In the past, centuries ago, when I was little, this general hospital, the old general hospital, had a bad rap, and and um, and it was the last resort, so to speak, for those who could find services elsewhere, right? But that's not the case now. And Josh and I talked in a committee about communications, and now that we've had the chance to build this kind of quality, this is the time that we need to have those banners and signage around so that people driving through, people passing by, people accessing this particular campus can be as proud of the work that is happening here. So thank you.
Thank you so much. That's so awesome to hear. And yeah, I'll just say we are so proud to work here. This is a really fulfilling and exciting place to work. The care that we're providing for our patients and community.
Yeah, and I want to just add one note to what Yolanda was saying, that the co-design committee is very strongly advocating for more recognition and more publicity around all of these incredible achievements. And I'm sure that is music to the ears of the people who work here. And of course, Connie Castro, who's here with us today, the Public Information Officer for the Medical Center. We know that so many incredible things have been happening here, and we definitely at HICP want to be part of sharing that story more publicly.
Hi, thank you for everything that you guys do. But again, my thing goes back to how you're promoting it, because I mean, I see it because, I'm connected some way to you guys. However, I don't really see a lot out in the community, right? Or like, what communities are you targeting in particular? And I know it would be around, and then what are you using? Like, I always have these ideas of how to promote things and I bring it, but people sometimes don't want to listen to my ideas because they can scare people. But really just highlighting what's happening at the hospital. And like for me, I think in other communities, I see they do a little bit of history and like, hey, this is happening in history and stuff like that, or like some cool um things about the hospital, like for example, that you have these incredible military like groups that come in that are very specialized in what they do and they get they get trained here. Things like that the community doesn't know for like, again, I didn't know until I started being more involved or being involved in HICP, but I think there's can be more, right? And a lot can be done on social media, but it's just tapping into those types and then how you present the information. Because like for me, it's like just, how they would say that the hospital was haunted. I like that. And that's a way, and I know people, oh, they don't want to, but there's a way of talking about things that are about the hospital that'll, because you got to catch the people, right? And get their interest, and then they'll like dig in more. Because there's a lot of history just in the history, but then just the uniqueness of the programs, and I think that there's a lot of ways into tapping in, and I'm not sure what you guys are doing, just because I do see I don't see a lot. I know that they do a great job of like some of the social media, but I think there's other ways too, right? I don't know what I'm trying to help.
No, I thank you for the feedback. That's really helpful. And we'll bring that back to our leadership team And in the meantime, maybe you can connect with Connie about some of our current efforts and how
Okay. And just getting the youth, because that's what we need to get. Like, I personally think, I personally think, I mean, I had brought it to the attention like a while. I said, why don't we get like, I was like, my daughter would do something when she was in high school, like as a project, to like get typed into like little short snippets. But I think that we need to do that a little more, or like, I think that would be one way, right? Because again, people do have that old stigma, but there's so much, and the building is beautiful, right? What we're at.
Yeah, that reminds me, when we were part of the Building Healthy Communities initiative, there was a social media advocates portion of that program where they brought in young people to design and promote the social media content for the campaign. It's a great model and a great idea.
Okay, thank you. So if there are no other questions on either the programs or for us, I do want to leave with a concluding reminder or request, which is it is flu season, and also COVID. Please, we encourage you and your loved ones, friends and neighbors, families to get vaccinated. Right. Flu vaccination is a life-saving, morbidity-saving intervention, and happy to be a resource to talk about any questions about vaccines, at any time offline. But yeah, just a kind, friendly reminder to vaccinate this flu season.
Do we have any final questions for any of our representatives from Los Angeles General? Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Really appreciate that. Well, next up, we're going to invite our colleagues from Centennial to come and join us. So I invite Giovanna and Chris to come up and join us. We're going to do a quick mic swap, and then we'll let you guys get started.
Hello. Is that okay? Can you hear me okay? All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Giovanna Araújo. I'm project manager for the redevelopment of the General Hospital and West Campus. I'm with Centennial Partners, which is a division of Prime Store created specifically in dedication to this project. And today I'm here with Chris Torres, who's representing our consultant teams that are doing a variety of technical studies throughout the project site to help and give you guys some updates on the progress and various initiatives that we're pushing forward as we do a lot of due diligence work on this project. So we have a bit of an agenda here to share with you guys about this presentation, because we're going to cover a lot of ground, but make sure that it all kind of comes together in a way that's easy to digest as far as the information we have to share today. So we're going to start just by giving you guys an update on recent engagement summary that we've been conducting to make sure that we're connecting with the community and various stakeholders on this project. And then we'll also give an overview of our implementation timeline. It's a recap. We've presented it here before, but just an opportunity for folks who have not yet had a chance to see what is ahead and what we're going to be working on for the years to come. Finally, we're going to go through our master plan delivery process, and then key priorities that were identified through community engagement and how we're going to approach a process of continuing to build upon these key priorities, and then give a presentation on one of the key priorities and how we're thinking through identifying the implementation pathway at this particular moment for one of these key priorities, which is campus infrastructure. So recent engagement summary. We've had a very active month. We've been hosting booths at a variety of events throughout the campus in collaboration with the Wellness Center and the LA General Medical Center. We just want to make sure that folks have an opportunity to get a little bit of information at these various events about all of the activities that we're conducting. And then also we're having a lot of meetings with a variety of stakeholders throughout the campus. We're meeting with the executive team of the LA General Medical Center. We're having meetings with the Wellness Center anchor tenants and core partners to make sure that we're capturing all of their visions and goals for this project. We're also having a lot of meetings with local and on-campus medical partners, as well as ongoing meetings with the Wellness Center and the presentations that we're doing here at HICP. And throughout the campus, there's a lot of different development projects as well, in addition to ours. So we're making sure to work very closely with Century Housing, Department of Public Works, Department of Mental Health, and Department of Public Health. And upcoming in January, February, we're planning to be presenting at a variety of neighborhood town halls. This is in partnership with SD1 and again, the Wellness Center. So we'll be able to share some dates for that very soon. And this is presentations that are going to be in collaboration with the other campus development stakeholders. And so it's an opportunity for neighborhoods and local residents to really have a full picture of everything that's happening on the site, and get to meet all of us and know who they need to be connecting with if they have any questions. And then we're also planning for February a community at large meeting, which will be hosted by us, Centennial Partners, and it will be fully dedicated to really doing a deep dive of everything that we've been doing over the past 6 months and all of the information that we're collecting and interpreting. And this is also an opportunity to receive a lot of feedback on that progress. So we'll also be sharing the date for that very soon. So what are we doing, right? We just want to take a moment to acknowledge this overall beautiful vision that has been so thoughtfully translated to us, which is to really bring this community anchor back to life. So this is a visual that we worked on as part of our RFP response to county and showing our interest in really taking the lead on this project. And it's just a nice moment for all of us to be reminded that while there's a lot of ground to cover, there's a beautiful future in the horizon for the campus. And these are again just some conceptual visuals, but they're very inspiring. They move us every day as we go along through this process. So our implementation timeline. It's really important for us to acknowledge that there has already been so much community dialogue that has been happening over the course of a decade plus here. So we want to make sure that it's very clearly understood that this communication, this dialogue, it evolves over time, and that we'll never come back and ask again, why are we doing this? What are your priorities? That has already been really clearly defined. And there's been a lot of time that's already been dedicated by this community to arriving at those answers. So we're acknowledging that, all of the key priorities have been defined. We know the community needs and aspirations, and we're here in phase 1. What are we going to do with all of that? We're identifying site constraints. We're establishing master planning requirements that are flexible and equitable, and that really implement a vision that ensures continuity of operations and growth. This phase 1 is about 10 months long. We're roughly halfway through now. It's us just going through all of this existing information and identifying any gaps and figuring out how to build from there and how to set up the framework for a really successful master planning process. very soon, next year, we have this brief phase, which is phase 2, which is a master planning phase. It answers the questions of when. How can we take all of these ideas and these master planning visions that are going to be workshopped with the community and stakeholders and make sure that we are figuring out the phasing plan so that we know exactly when each one of these ideas get implemented on the campus. And that's a very brief 6-month process. And finally, how? Now that at that point, we'll be able to know and have made a lot of recommendations alongside the community as far as what are some of the projects that will be on the campus. And we'll be working very closely with city leaders to make sure that we're going through all of the approval and entitling process to hit the ground running on these various projects. So master plan delivery process. There are 4 pillars that we've identified for this project. These are the pillars that really guide the decision-making process. And when they're balanced, that's when we get to the best possible outcome for the vision for the campus. So community needs is incredibly critical. That's the priorities, the stressors, and aspirations identified and workshopped through continuous engagement. And then we also have government process. We're observing policies, regulations, and needs set forth by LA County to advance the healthy village vision. So this project we are working on as a public-private partnership with LA County, right? This is intentionally so that we're able to really bring in a lot of different resources and be able to implement things that are really innovative and out of the box. And so that's a really critical pillar to this entire master plan delivery. And then site constraints that are conditions that are existing on the campus, from buildings to infrastructure to the land, that really determine what can be built and where. So that's a big consideration that we're gonna have to bear in mind. And also economic viability, a combination of creative funding sources and mechanisms to make the projects possible. So with these 4 pillars and these 4 considerations and doing a really deep dive into what's possible within all of them, we get to unlock things that were potentially considered not possible before. So also we wanted to introduce you guys to a visual that we've worked on, which is a 3D visual of the campus, and give a bit of a better understanding of what do we mean when we say General Hospital and West Campus. What are we really working on? So here what you can see is the scope boundary that we are really fully in charge of as part of our current ENA with LA County. This is, while this is the scope that we're primarily focused on, and that's where we have the possibility of building new infrastructure and really being responsive to these community needs, we ultimately have to do things that are really considerate of all of the other projects that are adjacent to us and all of the other activity on the campus, which is why we're working so closely with the various other teams that are working on those initiatives. So right next to us, we have the restorative care villages, phases 1 through 5. We also have existing facilities here, the LA General Medical Center. There's DHS medical facilities, medical examiner, child care center. So ultimately, what ends up happening is, even though we are in charge of that little piece right at the heart of the campus, we are also taking on an important role of understanding how do you think about this campus holistically so that it is cohesive, so that we don't have a puzzle piece of piecemealed initiatives. And some examples of that would be wayfinding, right? Like you want to be able to circulate the campus and know where you're going very easily. So we're going to be working very closely with partners across the campus to make sure that we can arrive at solutions for that together. Another example of that is parking, which we know is such a huge challenge, and we're really being held accountable to make sure that we're responsive to already the existing parking challenge that is here now, and the need for future parking once new projects are built on the campus, right? So those are two examples. And then utility infrastructure, all of that needs to be in coordination so that ultimately we get to something really nice that feels like one place. And then in addition to considering what's on the campus, we also have to consider the facilities and resources that are adjacent to the campus. How can we connect to Hazard Park and maybe expand that connection into the campus and make it really nice so it doesn't feel like it's a disconnected resource? So all of that will be things that we need to pay consideration to as well. And finally, we would arrive at this complete campus. So some key priorities: engagement process. We wanted to acknowledge the immense amount of engagement effort that has happened over the course of the past few years here. The community has really expressed what the main stressors, priorities, and uses and desires for the future of the campus are. So what we are doing is going through all of that documentation. And what we've done is we're translating all of that documentation into really digestible priorities that really focus on implementation. And when we do that, we're going to have specific timeline of dialogues that we're going to have in order to advance these projects forward. So in this project definition phase, we're going to have conversations and presentations with this group and other groups about challenges and opportunities that we're identifying as part of our studies. So the engagement will provide consistent progress updates on studies, verify any of our findings, and refine master plan framework requirements. In the phase 2, then it's a dialogue on design visioning. That's when we'll incorporate community feedback into any project recommendations, and so that they can become recommended alongside you. And then we'll have a dialogue on the permitting process, and finally a dialogue on early phases. So as projects begin to come online, how is the community experiencing it? How are our partners experiencing it? And what improvements can we make as we think of other future projects? So there's an intentionality to how this engagement process will evolve. So here in the project definition phase, these are the 5 key priorities that were derived from the variety of priorities that the community has expressed. And these are the same priorities that the community has expressed, just that's organized in these 5 buckets for implementation. So zooming into our project definition timeline, we're going to be giving presentations again on the theme of challenges and opportunities, right? And we're going to talk about these 5 key priorities through the lens of challenges and opportunities over the course of the coming months here through the HICP forum. So starting today, we're going to give, everything has to be bite-sized. There's a lot of information. It's hard to focus on all of the topics at once, which is why we're going to approach this conversation in this way. The goal is that it's a mutually educational process. We want to invite you into the process that we are undergoing so that you can also help and educate us as we're going along. So a bite-sized piece that we want to present on today is campus infrastructure, utility challenges that we're identifying, and how we're also looking for opportunities to create a cohesive, sustainable campus as a response to those utility challenges. And in the coming months, we're going to cover all of the other topics related to campus infrastructure, community spaces, affordable housing, economic anchors, and supportive services. Key priorities, campus infrastructure. So now I'm going to hand off to Chris Torres from our consulting team to walk you guys through some of the studies that we're doing around the utilities and the opportunities we're identifying for sustainability on the campus.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Appreciate folks that are here in person and the community that's here online. Today, we're talking about something that we really see as foundational to the work that we're doing, and it's infrastructure and utilities. And you might be thinking, why are we just talking about infrastructure and utilities? What's so beautiful and unique about this opportunity is the scale of this project. As a county resource, we have a really rare opportunity to really think big picture about how all utilities and infrastructure actually are in dialogue with each other. So this is a newer way of thinking about infrastructure that typically it's piecemeal as a campus grows over time. If we think about this from a master plan perspective, we actually have the opportunity to create the most sustainable and resilient system possible for the campus. So is it down or up? Yeah. All right. Perfect. So the idea is that district energy can reconnect the campus. So our site is currently working off the West Central plant site. And so this is a central energy plant that provides power for all the structures within our scope. As the uses of these buildings change over time, the energy profile also changes. And so the actual way that we deliver that energy is going to need to be reconsidered during the master planning process. And so our energy needs are going to be evolving over time. And so what's exciting is that right on the horizon is this new energy profile that we are beginning to study through this work. And so what you're seeing here are the preliminary rough loads analysis. So this is a super technical document that we're starting to look at all the different structures and potential uses within our site. How much energy are they actually going to need? So once we know that number, we can begin to understand how do we deliver that in the most sustainable way possible. And so there's really three opportunities we see to the work we're doing right now in this part of the master planning, early visioning, and research scope is creating this new energy profile. So the work we're doing is really mixed use. So it's not only a care center, it's not only housing, it's really bringing together many different uses. And each of those uses actually use energy in different ways throughout the year. There's a tremendous amount of new policy happening at the city, state, federal, and county level to really think about how do we leverage those policies to create the most adaptive frameworks possible. And what I mean by that is a master plan that has the ability to actually grow and change over time with having to not have to be rethought completely. And then it's really coordinating funding that's out there to do this work. Something we're excited about is how do you create a zero carbon, water positive energy district here on the campus site? This will be one of a kind in the county, not the first in the nation, but one of a kind. And we think a way that we could really lead here in terms of resiliency. So you might be asking, what is district energy? And how can it integrate the campus through sustainability? So district energy is a concept that holistically integrates heating, cooling, and the needs of a campus through renewable energy that can be produced and stored on site. And when you do this right, you create a closed loop system of resiliency. And so what you're seeing here are potential components of what a district energy system looks like. And so every time you have a heat demand, we utilize that to create cooling capacity. And so you don't lose any energy or any use within the system. So we think holistically about how we create and store energy, looking at solar, looking at geothermal. You could even pull energy out of sewer lines, which is something that I didn't know about. You could connect this to commercial uses. You could look at combined heat and power, and then connect this to residential uses and cooling. So these are early concepts. As the project moves into the master planning phase, the design team and engineering team will be creating a specific proposal for how this works on the campus site. So the question then is, how do we integrate these energy systems into the everyday life of the community? And we see four main opportunities that we want to discuss with you today. So it's about energy, it's about recycling and reuse, it's about water, and it's about food. And we see these as really core systems that could lead here at the campus and have tremendous impacts well beyond the boundaries of our site. there's a tremendous amount of policy happening right now around this kind of work. The county has prioritized this as a new way about thinking about healthy and equitable projects and initiatives across LA County. And so we're working right now to align the work we're doing here with broader policy initiatives across LA County. And that's going to help us secure funding that could have subsidies to be able to actually pull this work off and do it in the most equitable way possible. So next steps, this is just the beginning. We just wanted to kind of bring you into the process a little bit about elements that we're studying. We put together a quick survey that has 3 questions. There's a QR code here, but we'll also share the link to folks that are online. And the 3 questions that we want to open up. One is, what do you see are the urgent needs for campus infrastructure in the work you do related to the site? The second is, how could a district energy strategy align with the mission of your organization? The work we do is only as impactful as understanding the needs you have and the opportunities you have on the work you're doing. We like to say that the work we do is your work, and it works in a symbiotic way. And then we'd like you to help us rank the infrastructure systems by the highest impact you see for the campus. The idea to deliver clean energy, to think about water stewardship, to create healthy food, and to recycle and reuse. So helping us rank those will give us a little bit more clarity on areas that we want to focus more on, and then come back to you in future phases and show you how this works across the whole project. And yeah, we're very grateful to have this time. I'm going to let Giovanna close out.
Thank you so much, Chris. We have a few handouts in the back of the room where you can grab a printout of the 3D visual of the campus, as well as the project timeline and the handout with the QR code for the survey. So that's all right there in that center table, in case you were not able to capture the QR code on the screen here. We wanted to reiterate that we have an office at General Hospital. We're really excited to connect with all of you consistently and as many of you as possible. So we do have open visit office hours, and we welcome you to reach out to schedule a time to come have a chat with us. We would love to have some guests. And our team is grateful for the opportunity to present in this forum. Thank you so much for your time today. This is our consultant teams on the campus and our contact information if you have any other follow-up questions. So thank you, and we'll pass it off to Heather for questions from the audience.
Okay. We'll do Monica and then Alejandro.
Thank you. The only thing I have a question on, or more of a comment, the definition phase of project. That's it. We know, is that like, we know what the priorities are, right? So I don't know if, and maybe that is the right word, but it just, like, to me, it seems like you're still looking for what you're gonna do, right? But I know that we want housing for that space, right? I know that they want community spaces, right? But maybe, like, other people might get it, like, think about it as in they're still trying to figure out what they're gonna do. And I know that we are, like, how to even just be able to do what we want. So that's, it's just, you know how you can't just get past one thing, and that's all I'm hearing that. So, and I know that there is a lot of conversation and stuff like that, but I don't know how to.
Yes, thank you so much, Monica, for your question and the opportunity to clarify. So everything that is in the key priorities, well, we're working to deliver on those key priorities. So it's less a question of what will be built, what we don't know what we're doing. It's we know what we're doing. Where on the campus does it go? General Hospital, we know it will be mixed use, and it will be primarily residential with some, commercial or other community uses on the lower levels. And then the campus is really an open canvas for us to conduct all of these studies and then determine what are the best locations throughout the campus to really place these uses, these projects, when, how, what's the sequence for doing that. So that's really what we're doing. As far as what the community wants to see, we're working diligently to deliver on those priorities. And that's like very clearly is established to us.
Oh, de nuevo, gracias por la atención. Yo estuve en la junta a la vez anterior y se habló de un proyecto en la Avenida Valley y es excelente.
I was in the meeting last time and you were talking about a project on Valley, and I thought that was great.
Y esta presentación motiva mucho y en realidad es excelente para nosotros y para la población en general.
Your presentation was very motivational, and it's great for the community and for the people in general.
Pero mi pregunta es, como todo esto va también a motivar mucho el tráfico que está muy pesado por las North State de Marengo hacia César Chávez. Y como yo hago alcance comunitario,
Now, my question is that this is going to cause a lot of traffic north on State from Marengo to Cesar Chavez, and I do community outreach.
y la comunidad nos ha expresado al grupo que hacemos alcance comunitario, que es de parte de CPHT. Las personas están muy preocupadas por el alto volumen de tráfico, muchos accidentes, aparte que tienen muchos problemas.
People are concerned, and the community has expressed how they're very concerned with the high volume of traffic, accidents, and they're very worried about this.
Y este proyecto, perdón, es excelente, pero así se podría de alguna manera solicitar a la ayuda que es muy necesaria para ver si Metro puede ayudar, para ayudar en el problema, porque esto va a traer mucho tráfico, de por sí ya está.
This is an excellent project, and maybe if you can ask Metro for help, because this is going to cause a lot of traffic, and as it is, we have a lot of traffic now.
Y la comunidad de esta área está muy preocupada y nos ha comentado mucho su preocupación. Solamente yo quisiera poder tener una respuesta para ellos, si en realidad se puede solicitar a Metro ayuda para ayudar. Sé que es imposible ayudar a toda la ciudad, pero en este caso, para este proyecto, se podría solicitar a Metro ayuda para ayudar en esta situación. Gracias.
Yes, and the community is very concerned. I'd like to give them an answer if we can ask Metro for help. I know it's impossible for them to help the whole community or the whole city, but if they can help out with this project. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for your positive observations and also for representing the community concerns here so well to make sure that we're observing this challenge really closely. And we agree completely. I mean, there's a big challenge here with traffic, and we want to make sure that we're working very diligently to not exacerbate that. We are onboarding a traffic consultant who will be conducting studies to really understand the current traffic patterns. We've already been given some existing information and documentation from the county on the traffic challenges in the past few years, but we're going to be building upon that because we know that that's something that's constantly evolving. So we want to make sure that we capture the latest information and that we're being responsive to that. And we'll also be working very closely with Metro so that we're being mindful and we're not exacerbating any of those issues for the community. And we'll make sure to make that a key part of the conversations that we'll be having with community through our engagement process next year, so that we're also able to capture any stories of your experience on the ground to make sure that even sometimes looking at things from a big study perspective might only give you so much information, but the community really ultimately has the everyday experience. So we want to capture that as well. So we really appreciate your concern on this. It's very valid, and we welcome that. Mm-hmm.
We have a couple questions or a couple hands raised in the Zoom room. So I'm going to invite Pam to ask her question.
Yes, thank you. Hi. It's just a question that came up as you were sharing about the existing infrastructure. And I dropped it in the chat. But what are the current energy systems that power the entire campus? I know you mentioned like this particular site specifically. Do they also power surrounding residential neighborhoods? The thought behind that is, I'd like to understand, the potential challenges that may come up, not just to the existing campus, but to the surrounding neighborhoods, if and when, infrastructure, like electrical and utility upgrades are being done. So do these also power surrounding residential neighborhoods and non-LA County sites within the campus? That's my question.
Great question. Thank you so much, Pam. So the campus currently has two central plants. It's West Central Plant and East Central Plant. West Central Plant is powering General Hospital, OPD IRD, the Medical Examiner Building, and it does power Juvenile Hall across the street from the campus. So it is powering everything south of General Hospital, essentially. Well, OPD, IRD are north of that. So actually, that's not the correct vision. But those are the buildings that are connected to that central plant. Then East Central Plant powers the LA General Medical Center. Neither one of those central plants is powering anything beyond the site, with the exception of Juvenile Hall, and that's really the extent of distance that it goes. Restorative Care Village will be powered by West Central Plant, right? So what we're looking for as we look at West Central Plant, which is unfortunately really outdated, the infrastructure there. And there's a lot of power that's being lost. About only 25% of the power that's being produced by West Central Plant is actually arriving at the buildings that it is servicing. So there's a really dramatic infrastructure issue there that's not really allowing all of those resources to be captured. So what we're looking at when we look at these policies that we shared with you guys today with LA County is the opportunity to have an energy system that can be potentially maybe, a microgrid or something that actually can feed the neighborhoods, the more of the adjacent areas to the campus in addition to the campus itself, so that it does become a community resource. So that is something that we're studying and that we feel would be really beneficial to see happening. And we're going to be looking at every possible mechanism to that end, because that is, an opportunity for the campus to really bring value. But yes, that's what's going on currently and the overall vision.
And we have another hand raised. I'd like to ask Elias to ask their question.
Hi, yes, thank you. I did have a question. So, based on your infrastructure and campus accessibility and the energy needs, are you also engaging with USC and other existing businesses within the campus? And then also kind of a follow-up question to what you just said, like, will this new energy infrastructure like impact any of the existing stakeholders within that area?
Great question. So we're working very closely with all of the current tenants, right, throughout these buildings. What we're thinking is that there would be, of course, a transitional process. We can't decommission West Central Plant and just unplug the power on everyone. That won't be the case. What likely would happen is there would be some temporary infrastructure that gets built to service the buildings while there's a transitional period happening between once the system that's currently active on the site and the system that will be the future system for the site. So those are all the processes that we're evaluating, and we're working very closely with all of the tenants and stakeholders on the campus to come up with a plan for that transition that's non-disruptive.
Do we have any additional questions for our Centennial partners?
Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Edith Aguilar.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Edna Aguilar.
Soy trabajador comunitario en Wellness Center y me gustaría saber ¿Qué va a pasar con las oficinas de Wellness Center?
I'm a community worker with Wellness Center, and I'd like to know what's going to happen with the Wellness Center offices.
Eso es todo, gracias.
That's it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your question. The Wellness Center is a beautiful heart and soul of this campus. So we're working very closely with Heather and Rosa and all of the other core tenants of the Wellness Center and partners to make sure that we're understanding and capturing the depth and breadth of operations that the Wellness Center is conducting, understanding how the spaces that they currently have are being utilized, and working to come up with recommendations related to the Wellness Center to be workshopped alongside county for what will be the future of the Wellness Center, whether it is a return or being a general hospital, or it will be a new facility for wellness center on the campus that is really actually better suited to the overall operations of the wellness center with spaces that are specifically designed to meet their needs. And so that's something that we're working very closely with Heather and Rosa and the core tenants to make sure that there's no disruption and that this actually poses an opportunity for the 2.0 version of your space and the honoring of that in a better way. Mhm.
Do we have any further questions for Centennial?
Again, not a question, but just a thank you for the hard work that you've done thus far to become one of our partners and to be part of us as you have. But going back to the 4 pillars, if you could go to that screen. That was a huge benchmark for us on the committee, was that those pillars were actually identified by the community as important. And you were so quick to adapt them into what you normally, your protocols, your high level of work and commitment. You were able to thread those in and make them your own. And so thank you. That was really a acknowledgement of us, the community, and the work that we've done in these last, feels like 12 years, but sure, it's been only 7.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Yolanda. Yeah, we want to make sure that we're just reflecting back everything that you've already laid the foundation on for us, and that we're then just overlaying the skill sets that we bring around implementing on those visions. And so we appreciate that. Mhm.
All right. Well, if we have no further questions, I'll say thank you very much to Chris and to Giovanna for coming and sharing with us today. A reminder, there are some handouts here in the room. Please feel free to pick those up so you can have those with you. And there's a QR code to participate in the survey. So please do share your feedback with us via the survey. Thank you so much. All right. So next up, we are going to move to our next presenter, Iris Rain from the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture. Iris will be sharing with us some information about the Restorative Care Village civic arts process. Welcome, Iris.
Hi, good morning. I am going to share my screen. It's tech. And there is some construction in the building next door, so yeah, forgive me if you hear undue noises in the background. So thank you so much It's actually amazing to hear all these presentations. There's so much good work going on and so much collaboration. So this little presentation in particular has to do with LA General RCV 5 that I talked about last time. So this is the building that is going to be built on Mission Road and Zonal. And it's a psychiatric subacute facility. And I'm just going to run through, in case someone didn't attend the meeting last time, where I talked about where the artwork will be located. I'm going to just sort of whip through that and then talk about themes for the artwork that that we discussed at the co-design meeting. So again, this is the long face of the building on Mission, and this is on Zonal. And as you know, the previous RCD phases are back here, sort of, if you drive into Zonal. This is the building in plan, and you can see how big the mural is. We were able to get a really beautiful size that's going to be even larger than the ones that are on the previous phases of the RCV. So this will be a really substantial mural. And in some ways, this building acts as a gateway to the restorative care village. And the co-design committee also said that acutely observed that this building almost acts in some ways as a gateway to the whole LA General campus, depending on where you're coming from. So this is a very meaningful location. Also, this, because of the traffic on Mission, this is really a location that will communicate very much with the outward community. So just a couple of notes, just sort of laying foundation for thoughts around the artwork. So one is that the artwork resonates with surrounding communities and also with the restorative care village consumers, with the visitors and their staff. And because of this location on Mission Road, the artwork will primarily address the surrounding communities. So we have multiple communities that we're serving, but the first that we're thinking of will be the surrounding communities. And this idea of the artwork that helps to introduce the campus and also LA General. And the Department of Mental Health would like the restorative care village as a whole to help create a feeling, to have a feeling of continuity. So RCV 5, so this restorative care village 5, will be a part of a greater whole. As with previous artworks for the restorative care village, since we're dealing with areas or consumers that are quite sensitive, we are going to avoid certain things that could be triggering. So anyone who was here for the previous restorative care village process, artwork process, would know that we're going to avoid the prevalence of the colors red or black, because those are considered sort of violent. Definitely depictions of death, fire, weapons, pointy objects, skeletons, like that would be very triggering for anyone who's in the restorative care village. And then also there's specifically an issue with certain depictions of people with eyes facing forward, where a very sensitive viewer could interpret that as eyes following the viewer, and also dizzying or jagged patterns. So these little lists are going to appear in a call for artists verbatim. So I'm sharing you some of the texts that are going to appear in the call for artists. And just I wanted to mention that we're developing the specific schedule for the selection of the artwork, and I'd like to discuss the artwork selection process in a future meeting, so that everybody at HICP is clear about how we're going to go about it. And we've been in discussion, or I've been in discussion with the co-design committee. We actually developed on previous phases, we developed a process that seemed to work really well and was very inclusive. So, but I'd like to outline that separately. So what we've been working on now are these artwork themes. So themes for the artwork are not specifics like telling an artist, to put in a flower or, a horse, but they really address values, themes, and cultural connections that are important for the RCV5 mural. So first, values, inclusivity, social racial justice, human rights, equity, restorative care, community wellness, healing, environment, nature, and welcoming. So these are sort of guiding words that we're going to share with artists so that they can, when they're thinking of concepts, this is what they need to think of. And I actually, listening to the other presentations, I was actually going to talk to the co-design committee maybe about adding the word resilience, because that really, I feel like that came out of all the presentations this morning. Just an idea. So thematic priorities, which are also sort of high-level ideas, are hope, healing, health, cultural and historical connection. So that's the idea of past, present, future, also connection to General Hospital and the campus, the idea of personal growth, and the idea of honoring individuals and everyday people. And then cultural connections would be compassion, local communities, family, indigenous immigrant roots, and the life experiences of residents and patients. Also, a preference for narrative art versus abstract art. So art that depicts sort of a recognizable story or recognizable objects or people. So this will be included as sort of guiding values, themes, and cultural connections in the call for artists, so that when artists are thinking of proposals further on down the road, they can always go back to this list. And I'm going to share this with the HICP, so this could be accessed by everybody. And then we also came up with places of inspiration. And I have to say, this list started getting kind of long. And I was thinking about it this morning, thinking how amazing it is for us to be in an area where there are many places of inspiration for artists. So these are places that aren't necessarily art focused, but together sort of encompass the values, themes, and cultural connections that we'd like to address in the mural. Okay, so definitely please feel free to contact me if you have any comments about this. And I'd love to hear any feedback on what it is that the group has written here.
Kind of the values and community inspiration around the art that's been expressed so far.
I'm seeing, sorry, I'm leaving this up just so people could see it.
Iris,
did you have a question?
yes, do you have a timetable when folks should get back to you regarding the values, themes, and cultural connections?
Yeah, I'd actually, I'm trying to finalize this. I want to also preface this by saying the idea with these values, themes, and cultural connections is to share certain ideas with the artists, but also keep them very focused. So we're trying to keep this very brief, because the more we give them, then the more diffuse your message becomes. So there's this funny dance between including the things that we consider important, but also not including too much, because then they have no more direction. So, but I would like to, given the holidays, it would be great if I could have feedback on this by next Wednesday. As I said, we've been working on this with the co-design committee. So this is very, and we were working off of themes that were already established in the previous artworks for the RCV. So this is territory that's been talked about for a long time. But definitely, as I said this morning, somehow this idea of resilience, we don't have that there. There are ideas that do seem really important to include that we might have missed. So I'd love to have feedback on that, but let's say by next Wednesday.
And we have a question from Alejandro in the meeting room.
De nuevo, buenos días. Gracias por la atención. Mi nombre es Alejandro Castro y solo una pregunta. Como es muy, es un placer escuchar sobre arte. Solo la pregunta es si esos artistas son crecidos en nuestra comunidad. Gracias.
Thank you. My name is Alejandro Castro, and I'm glad to hear about this art. My question is if these artists will be people that have grown in our community. Thank you.
That's a really good question. I think the call for artists will be larger than, let's say, a specific Boyle Heights call. And then the artists will tell them their stories, and there will be a chance for everybody to vote on how the artists present. I can think of, because of the issues of displacement and migration, I can think of one artist that I just talked to last week who was literally born at LA General, who doesn't live in the community anymore, who lives, I don't know, somewhere else in the county. So this artist has a very strong connection to the community, and understands just, all the concerns and desires, but doesn't actually live there. So we're opening up this call to a little bit of a broader net, and then the artists will sort of speak to how they connect to the community, and then the community can see if that makes sense to them, or if that makes sense to you, that this would be someone who's helping to express the desires of the community.
And we have a question or comment from Yolanda Duarte.
So thank you, Iris. The new buildings all around this campus give us, and the renderings that you provided, give us all a look at how we modernize this campus. And understanding that, and the intent of the co-design committee was to help to set in these ideals and goals, was to preserve the history and the legacy of the historic General Hospital campus, now the LA General Hospital campus. And I think all of the items that you have included today do just that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I see
All right.
Francisco. Was there a hand?
I was gonna just check the Zoom room, see if we have any hands raised.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, Francisco, take it away.
So the only concern I really have about this narrative presentation of ideas is when you're going through a psychotic event, there's a lot of noise and a lot of signals get misinterpreted. And my understanding is how people are located into psychiatric help is more regionally based. So if you're an outsider of the community and you're coming in and you're getting all these inputs, regardless of the intent, there's a strong potential of misinterpretation, which can prolong, I think, psychotic events. So I just want to mention that to caution and really focus, folks on the healing here, because art is great, but it's also expressive and that can be triggering too. That's it. Thank you.
I love that comment, and I'm gonna just show a little example, which is one of the murals on the previous RCV. Oops. And I don't know, can people, let me see the tree here, which is a little cut off, but I don't know if people are familiar with the tree that was done by the artist Lorenzo Hurtado Segovia. And he, in a previous restorative care village, I mean, artists will take this information. Oh, here we go. Artists will take these themes and do something wonderful with them, right? And the ones that are selected will be doing something wonderful with the themes that resonate with the community. So this artist, for instance, did a lot of community engagement around papel picado, and each papel picado is customized to the community at LA General. Like when you zoom closer, when you see the mural, they're actually very specific. These are not generic. And then this tree, which is a symbol of, growth and rebirth and strength, and is actually literally an image of the tree that's at the child care center, the 100-year-old tree. So he sort of tied in, the young children with the healing and growth that happens at the center. So I, for one, would never have imagined that giving the artist these themes would result in something like this, but that's what we're wanting the artists to do, is to show us some of these ideas in a way that resonates for us, but that we can't imagine, and that definitely should not be triggering. So we will have the Department of Mental Health will definitely, and health services and public health will be vetting all and any kind of mural images for the triggering that you're mentioning, because that is obviously, that's our first concern, is that this needs to be a healing campus. Does that help? Does that respond to your question?
That's a very cool example. It's more abstract than I would have what I was first envisioning. So yeah, thank you. That's very cool.
Sure, thank you.
Wonderful. Do we have any additional questions? Okay, looks like we're ready to take our quick break. We're giving our interpreter a little moment to take a deep breath, and we're going to invite people in the room to enjoy our burritos, our coffee, and our conchas. And then we'll be back. We're starting back again with a presentation on the Hazard Creek project in about 5 minutes. So we'll see you then. All right, we're ready to get started with our next and final presentation of today's meeting. I'm really excited to invite our colleagues up to talk about the Hazard Creek project. Obviously, a lot more to come from them, so I'll let you take it away. Oh, that's fine. No. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you again for having us. My name is Julian Buenaventura. I am from the Mountains Recreation Conservation Authority, MRCA. We're a regional park agency. We work in open space, park management. We operate and manage pocket parks throughout LA County, Ventura County, and now in Orange County. So we received a planning grant to explore a project in Hazard Park with community partners, and we're here to present on the latest concept of the project. So what we're doing is we're hoping to bring back a stream that currently existed at Hazard Park. And Hazard Park is owned and operated by LA City Parks and Recs, and we would partner with them to help them bring back the stream. And we've also listed our consultant team on here, one of them being Artifact, which is Chris Torres, who's also working on a lot of the local projects in the area too. Thank you. So just want to provide an aerial overview of what we're talking about. So Hazard Park is very close here to the hospital hub. This picture shows the park towards the west end, and the dotted line is where this hidden stream is. Another view is looking kind of east. This buried stream would actually dissect the park in two, and it's very close to the high school, the hospital hub area. And just want to provide a little context too about the site. So the land that it's on, or really the land that we're all on, kind of started as a bigger part of the LA River Basin. Then industrialization came in, a railroad actually went through the area, and by the late 1800s, 1900s, population grew. People needed a respite from the area, and Hazard Park was created. So since then, since 1933, it's been this community anchor providing community resources and park resources. So kind of combining all the resources that currently exist and enhancing it by providing more funding as well would really be beneficial for everyone. Thank you. So the cultural impact. So how is the park being utilized today? It's a very big resource for the community. You have events that happen, you have neighbors that gather. It's used for park recreation. It's also utilized by the high school nearby for physical education. So what our concept has done has taken a look at the resources that exist at the park for the community and trying to highlight ways to better improve it. Thank you. So just to provide a really regional context, in the middle is Hazard Park. It's surrounded by concrete jungle. You see only little pockets of green space. So it'd be nice to enhance what is existing and providing a little bit more slice of natural habitat to the area for all the people that are around as well as all the institutions. And then providing more of a neighborhood context, we can see Hazard Park is surrounded by so many of the institutions, the hospital and the high school. And we see that this project has potential to have a more beneficial green corridor for all these institutions in the community. So what Artifact, our landscape architecture has done is they've taken a look at the project and put it into phases. And this right here is the existing conditions. You see Hazard Park as is in this, depicted in this phase or condition. And in the first phase, which MRCA is trying to focus on, is daylighting that stream, meaning bringing back that stream. And you can see it in the middle, this blue color in the middle would be that stream, and it dissects the park in half. But we'd be able, if we were able to bring back the stream, we'd be able to also rehabilitate native habitat.
Another feature that we could add with this is creating an adventure trail that connects to existing pathways in the park and providing more flat spots for ADA access for more people to enjoy. And then the second phase, if we are able to obtain more funding, then we could enhance by providing a meadow, a community lawn where folks could come and do yoga, providing vista points like a canopy observatory, a deck, so that people can look down and see into this new native habitat. And again, in the third phase, it's also existing more amenities for the surrounding area, but also focusing more so in this version for the school. We noticed that the school utilizes the park for a lot of their physical education and their classes. So adding a loop that would be beneficial for the school to use for their physical educational classes would be enhanced here as well. This just shows another view too in this section of what it would look like if you added more to the native habitat. And another benefit of adding in this stream, this hidden stream, is once you add that, you have more habitat that comes in. So you'd be seeing more native birds, native wetlands with the animals that come with it. So it just provides more of that green space for everyone to enjoy. And it's also a thing that we're studying is, making sure that this creek is something that would be available year round. It's a dynamic ecosystem. So it would be dry maybe in some portions of the year, but also very, very heavily utilized, I guess, in the wet season when we do have rain. And I just want to highlight too, for this project, we weren't the first ones to talk about this, bringing back this stream. Northeast Trees is a local community organization, nonprofit that works also in parks and open space. And they had tried to move this project forward 20 years ago. They saw the value in connecting nature to people, and we see that value as well and hope to bring back this project to light. So thank you again for inviting us. We'd love to hear your support and thoughts on it, and we'll continue to provide updates when we have more progress.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? Any questions online? Let me double check. Yes. Oh, yes, I see a hand raised by, let's see. Oh, I see a couple hands raised. Guadalupe, let's hear your question or comment first.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I imagine then that the issue with the US the railroad company that has been addressed. I guess that was one of the reasons why the project was having problems moving forward, but that has been already addressed, I imagine. Is that so?
Yeah, so we had to do some investigative work, and we found that the railroad was actually leasing the land from the city. So we weren't sure of who the owner was, and we finally have straightened it out. It is LA City that does own the creek section. So we are trying to work with LA City Rec and Parks to do some more further water studies so that we can kind of determine, is this viable? So yeah, we're working that out. We're meeting with the city very soon, and hopefully we can progress from there.
And do you see the opportunity? I know this is great. This is especially because we are through the General Hospital, the reuse project. We're trying to create connections. So this would be a wonderful element to connect with what we do on campus. And we see also Lincoln Park in the area in the other direction. So it would be great to have something that connects all of these spaces to even provide furthermore for the community. Again, an expanded open space element, right?
Yes, definitely. We definitely agree. And that's why we've approached the city as well as SD1, Hilda Solis's office to garner support and hopefully obtain funding so that we can push forward to community outreach as well as design and development and then move from there.
Yes, I work with Supervisor Solis, so we are very interested in that. And but thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
And we have a couple other questions. Elias, would you like to ask your question?
Yes. Could you actually go back to the slide of that map that you had, just so I could look at it once more? And I guess my question is regarding like those are like the local um environment that's already there. There's oh no, sorry, the other map of the park that you guys are.
Oh, sorry. This.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that one. Perfect. Thank you. I'm just thinking about this area, and I'm just wondering, like, the construction of this, because I'm assuming this is gonna have to take a while. There is like already like a big local, like coyote population there that is kind of dwindling. Just kind of wondering how this is gonna affect like the local animals in that area, and also kind of thinking about that there's some programs that are run at hazard parks in the summer that the youth and community rely on, if this is going to interfere with any of that, if you're maybe in collaboration with any of those programs too. Um, yeah, those are some of my questions I have at the moment.
Yeah, thank you for your question. So we're not the owner and operator of the park. LA City Rec and Parks is. And so we would partner with them, obviously, and work with them and make sure that none of what our project scope does in interferes with, current programming. The things with the coyote population, that's something we'd probably have to bring up with them to see, what would happen. But those are all like very important things to bring up, and we would definitely address that with Parks and Rec if we are able to proceed forward with this daylighting project.
We have a
Thank
comment,
you.
another question in the chat. A comment from Jasmine Perez who says, "I went to Bravo and ran track, the cross country track. The team counts on the hills for training." So speaking again to the utilization of the park by multiple stakeholders. And Jasmine has a question for you. Is there a current collaboration with Northeast Trees?
So we did work with them to gather what they have done in the past. So we used a lot of resources that they already had researched from 20 years ago, and they provided all that information to us so that we can utilize that to provide to our consultants. So yes, we are working with them, and definitely if this project proceeds forward, we would also work with the community. The school is very nearby, the hospital hub is nearby, and they were very gracious to host us today for this presentation too. So we definitely will continue to work with the partners in the community.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Alejandro Castro de nuevo. Solamente quiero tal vez una pregunta de más, pero como es un proyecto muy interesante, muy importante y muy necesario.
Hi, I'm Alejandro Castro. Good morning. I have a question. I know this is a very interesting and necessary project.
Solo si podríamos contar protección para nuestras familias, nuestros jóvenes que esto va a llamar mucha la atención a los jóvenes y a las familias, y por supuesto que va a servir mucho. Solo mi pregunta es, ¿tendríamos protección para ellos? Gracias.
Yes, and my concern is about the protection measures that are going to be taken, because this is going to call the attention to a lot of people, a lot of youth in the community. So I'd like to know what's going to be done about protecting them. Thank you.
So this is still in the investigative portion of the project. So we still do have to do community engagement, and you bring up a great issue. That's something that we want to go to the community and hear any concerns and any of their ideas too for the project. So we definitely will proceed with community engagement and seek out everyone's advice to help with the design and development.
We have a couple other raised hands. I'll invite Daniel to ask your question.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Daniel with Inner City Struggle. I'm wondering if there's going to be any conversations with any local groups that are doing work around reclaiming, flora and fauna for Native American folks. I know that well, first of all, I would like to say that I love the idea of like bringing back the stream. I think that is going to bring a lot of native plants and it has a great opportunity to bring more native plants and restore the ecosystem of the area, given that this is a heavily dense populated area. Having open space and a place where folks can connect with the with the earth and the plants that are there are going to be important. I know there's a couple groups out there that are doing work. And then my other question is there also thoughts about connecting with some folks that are already doing work around, honoring the people that were here first before, such as the Tongva, Gabrielino, folks that can, potentially also bring perspective, but also maybe a site to honor, the displacement that has occurred in this area?
Yeah, thank you very much for your comment and your question. Yes, we definitely want to work with the native tribes, the native people in the area, as well as, we want to do community outreach. So on the back or the last slide, I do have my contact information. So if you could take down my contact information, shoot me an email, send me all the organizations that you know that are working in the area, and we definitely want to touch bases. There's so many we're kind of coming from the outside in as well, and we want to definitely connect with the community. It's very important. We want to address and include everyone. So, please feel free to share my information and shoot me an email with all the contact people that you can connect me to. That would be great.
We have a question in the chat from Martha Gonzalez asking, what will you do about the homeless people who live there? Will it be safe? Will it be a safe area to walk around?
This is a question that comes up all the time for our agency, and we monitor and we deal with a lot of parks that have homelessness, and it is an issue that is a big concern for the community. And I think with community outreach and getting feedback from the community, it'll help us kind of provide a better understanding and approach to the park and the stream.
And we have another hand raised by Maria Ponce de Leon. Maria, ask your question.
Sí, buenos días, mi nombre es María Ponce de León. Una de las preguntas es un proyecto muy bueno, pero que mi pregunta es, ¿han hablado con la comunidad como comunidad de Ramanacate o la comunidad vecina? No, yo vivo en el área en Barlow Street, es uno de los parques que mis hijos ahí crecieron. So, yo quisiera saber, ¿han tenido estas conversaciones con la comunidad o nos lo van a hacer saber? Gracias.
Okay, thanks. Would you mind kind of restating the question and then answering?
Ay, perdón, no me acuerdo de su nombre, pero lo que estaba diciendo es que si ya hemos empezado teniendo conversaciones comunitarias y todavía estamos en la primera fase, ver mucho nomás viendo el concepto y cómo se conecta este proyecto con todos los demás proyectos que están pasando en esta área. Lo que estamos haciendo hoy es colectar más información de las diferentes organizaciones y las diferentes grupos comunitarios que tenemos que hablar más para cuando estemos viendo ya más el diseño y todos los elementos que vaya a tener este diseño, que haya integrado todas las opiniones que tiene la comunidad. Entonces, dígame si contesté su pregunta, pero eso es lo que escuché, que si ya hemos hecho avances comunitarios y todavía no estamos en esta fase, estamos colectando todas las organizaciones con quien queremos hablar y ya va a ser esa fase en unos meses que vienen.
Ok, mi nombre es María Ponce de León y sí, como parte de miembro de la comunidad, como le digo, tengo 30 años viviendo ya aquí en Boyojai. allí crecieron mis hijos en este parque. Sí nos gustaría que tuvieran en cuenta también parte de la comunidad es Ramona Garden, así que tienen que son vecinos enfrente del parque, así que es una de las cosas que tienen que comunicarse con ellos. Gracias.
Sí, muchas gracias. Escuché lo que dijo, conectar todos los espacios verdes que tenemos en esta área. Aparte de Hazard, está Lincoln Park y también Ramona Garden. Entonces, hemos escuchado su comentario. Gracias.
Thank you so much for your question, Maria. We have a comment in the chat from Father Chris saying, reiterating some of what's already been said. I live here on Zonal, and the coyote numbers after 7 p.m. are a daily reality. Care for the homeless is another local reality and concern. So, to keep everyone up to date, it looks like the fire alarm for the building may be going off, which means we may have to conclude our presentation and relocate to another meeting space or relocate outside, I'm assuming. So I think we're going to suspend the meeting right now and relocate. This was our final presentation of the day. So thanking so much our presenters for joining us. We really appreciated the impromptu opportunity to hear about this incredible project and look forward to learning more as more happens. As a final note, before we conclude our meeting, this is the last meeting of 2024. 2025 meetings will begin on January 10th. We'll make sure to log in and send around the email so that you can register for all upcoming meetings in 2025. And we look forward to seeing you then.